What's going on, guys? This is B Wells, and today I'm bringing you 100 cryptos in 100 days, the number 8 out of 100 episode, and we'll be talking about BitShares today. BitShares is an amazing project. That's how every exchange should be from now on. A lot of exchanges are moving towards their model, so that's good news for the future. But BitShares, what it is, it's a decentralized exchange, okay? So to explain this with examples of how this went down and why it's important, a few years ago, there was an exchange called BTC-E, and that was a very big exchange. It probably had about 20%, maybe 25% of all the crypto users using that exchange. It was clearly known to be located like in Russia or somewhere in that area because it was also in that language. And they frequently accidentally showed stuff like that on the homepage and certain notifications. It'd be in Russian. So we knew that it was in Russia, but that's one reason why we kind of had a little bit more faith in it as a whole, the crypto community, I should say. And everybody thought that it was going to be fine to store their coins there. And the U.S. government finally kicked their door down. They claimed that the owner of, or the management somebody of BTC-E was actually the stealer of the coins of Mt. Gox. So I know a lot of you guys, even if you're new to cryptocurrency, you probably heard about Mt. Gox. That was an exchange that essentially went insolvent after the owner, Mark Karpels, was said to have ran off with the funds. He actually even got sentenced or convicted guilty of this crime. So I don't understand how the U.S. government could have changed their mind and decided, oh, okay, well now it was the owner of BTC-E, so let's go kick their door down. So keep in mind the U.S. government did get all of those coins. I'm not sure what they did with them. I haven't really been reading up on the press releases or anything, if they've even spoken about it after. But I do know that they auctioned off coins when they seized them from the Silk Road, the United States government. So I'm not sure if they're auctioning these or maybe if they're keeping them, using them in tandem with all this bad news and FUD we've heard lately to try to crash the market. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But the point is that BTC-E was not a centralized exchange, and therefore it was vulnerable to attack. That's from hackers. That's from governments. That's from employees. Anybody that could do damage. But with something like BitShares, it's almost like Bitcoin, where there's an open ledger for everybody, but it's distributed across the decentralized network. So you don't have to worry about hacks. You don't have to worry about somebody kicking down the servers of your exchange and then suddenly all your funds getting stolen or whatever the case may be. With BTC-E, a lot of those funds were taken by the U.S. government because they were on wallets, hardware wallets that were on the premises, so they lost all the coins. So with something like BitShares, it takes the functionality of the exchange and it brings it across the decentralized network to protect the users and the users' funds. And that's extremely important in the cryptocurrency world. There's a lot of people out there that are bad people. They want to put keyloggers on your phone, on your computer, and get all of your passwords. And once that happens, you're essentially vulnerable to a hack, and that could still even happen with something like BitShares. So I mean, that's why I always want to say, use two-factor authentication. If you can, use a hardware wallet, even though there's been news that there's been vulnerabilities and backdoors built into those. So, I mean, there's just so many flaws with crypto and security flaws at that with crypto at the moment. But I do think that, as time progresses, we'll be able to get some of those straightened out and squared away. And I think that a ledger is still the safest place to have your coins. I've heard about vulnerabilities, but all my coins are fine. And you have to make sure to stay updated and get all the updates from them whenever you do use one of these devices. The next best thing is definitely a decentralized exchange, although you're still vulnerable to getting hacked somehow. Your phone or your computer, and then your password. I would say with your phone especially, never use your passwords that are your main crypto passwords on your phone, because there's almost definitely a keylogger on like 90% of all the phones in America. So definitely be careful with that. If you do use an exchange to store your funds and your tokens, make sure you use BitShares or something similar. Binance is about to have a decentralized exchange as well. Right now they're centralized, but they're talking about launching their decentralized exchange, and guess what happened? The price shot up in just a matter of an hour right after they announced it. So decentralization is the way to go, including with storing your funds, unless of course you're using a hardware wallet or a paper wallet. That way you can have a little bit more peace of mind. But something like BitShares, it's a great project, and something I almost forgot to mention is BitShares, it was basically created by Dan Larimer, who is the creator of Proof of Stake. So all of the coins you've ever heard of that run staking or are going to finally run the Proof of Stake, such as Ethereum, all of that can be, you can give the thanks to Dan Larimer, basically, because he came up with Proof of Stake. He also has worked on the Steem platform, which right now is the #1 blockchain out of every blockchain out there. BitShares isn't too much far behind. I believe it's in the top 5. So BitShares is doing lots of transactions as well. The Steem platform is the #1 in transactions per day, more than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. So Steem is definitely one to look for, BitShares, and then also EOS, which is another project by Dan Larimer. That's his third and final project, most likely. I think that's going to be the big one for him, the one that really makes it. Although BitShares is a top 40 right now cryptocurrency, and EOS is a top 10 even before it's released, Steem is a top 30. And all of them have been in the top 5. Between BitShares, Steem, and even EOS. If EOS didn't make it to 5, it was at least like number 6 or 7. So Dan Larimer is pretty much the Steve Jobs of the crypto world. He's a guru, and I think any project he touches will turn to gold. BitShares is no different. We'll take a quick look at the all-time chart. You see it released at about a cent, a little under, and it's been as high as 87 cents, guys. So that's huge, even from where it's at now at 16 cents. I think it's something you should definitely look into. If anything, you might be able to find some other coins or tokens you haven't heard about yet that are pretty good projects that are hosted on BitShares. That's one reason I like going to other exchanges sometimes, to see which coins they are offering, and then I can do some research on their white paper, on their team and project, and decide whether or not I think it's going to be a viable cryptocurrency and project for the future. So that is the number 8 out of 100 cryptos that I'll be reviewing in 100 days. BitShares, courtesy of Dan Larimer. Thanks so much for watching my video. Please do me a favor and like the video if you enjoyed it. Give me a subscribe, and I'll appreciate any support I get or any feedback. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you on the moon. Have a good one. See ya.